A Florida man is begging President Donald Trump to not deport his wife. The Homeland Security Investigations Miami office recently shared on X the federal law enforcement agencies had conducted several immigration enforcement operations last Sunday. Now, agents from ICE's Miami office also reported detaining some undocumented migrants on various offenses across South Florida, including in Broward and Martin counties. Now, one man who didn't want to be named had told CBS News Miami that ICE had taken his wife during one of these raids in the Miami neighborhood of Brownsville. Quote, they just came in and they snatched her. It's despicable what they're doing right now. It's very embarrassing, he told CBS News Miami. The man's wife was one of three people taken in the Brownsville raid. The other two were men who reportedly worked in construction. Well, wait a minute. If they were working in construction, then they weren't lazy and taking the benefits. So, I mean, there you go. Again, Schrodinger's immigrant is, they're taking all the benefits and they're also taking all the jobs. What? Doesn't make any sense. Now, the man's wife happened to have been a Venezuelan migrant who had temporarily protected status. Now, when asked if she was in the process of getting her U.S. citizenship, the man told CBS News Miami that, yeah, man, she was right in the middle of it. She had a court date and set up and everything. Everything was good until ICE came and snatched her for whatever reason. Probably just the fact that she looked like an immigrant. Now, here's the thing, right? I thought that the Trump administration only was going after criminals. That's what they keep telling us. We're going after the bad ones. We're going after the criminal migrants. But no, it turns out that for them, every migrant's a criminal. That's it. Now, on Sunday, the Trump administration had put out a memo terminating one of two temporary status designations for people from Venezuela. Now, currently, the law protected hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan migrants in the U.S. from deportation. These are people who came here, they got legal status because the government had previously determined that it was too dangerous to allow them to return to their homeland safely. There would be political repercussions, perhaps punishment from the government of Venezuela, or perhaps there were other issues, like economic issues. But basically, yes, it's too dangerous for them to go back, so they're going to have temporary protected status. That means, of course, that they cannot be deported and they can be eligible to get a work permit. Now, it does not give them permanent legal status. Okay. Now, the Venezuela TPS program is by far one of the biggest of its kind, protecting more than 600,000 migrants from deportation, according to government statistics. However, now, thanks to Donald Trump, there will be an estimated 350,000 migrants, that's Venezuelans, that were covered under a 2023 TPS designation. They will be losing their work permits and deportation protections. This will happen about 2 months, okay? Venezuelans enrolled in TPS under an earlier 2021 designation will continue to have that status through September, though those protections could also be phased out. I would think that it's probably very likely that they will be phased out. Let's be honest, Trump he's going after all the migrants. That's it. If you're from one of these Latin American countries, for Central America, then he wants you to go. That's it. Period. Now, this guy, of course, he's like, please, Donald Trump, do not deport my wife. It's our 11th anniversary. Now, he said, quote, if I get a chance to talk to you, man, please, man, let's work something out. Let me keep my wife here in the United States. She deserves to be here. Well, Donald Trump doesn't think so. Okay. He can import his wife. Melania, but but no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. Okay. Look, Trump doesn't think that she belongs here. Neither do many Republican voters. Understand that they voted for this. They wanted this. They asked for it. And Trump obviously is giving them exactly what they want. And I'm not saying this guy voted for Trump. I have no idea. I have no idea what his vote was for, right? But if he did, then this would be an example of the leopard eating your face. Okay? I mean, and the thing about that statement, too, is why would she deserve to be here, but other nonviolent, non-criminal migrants don't? That's the thing. There are too many other people that either don't care or they support the mass deportations until it affects them. Oh my God, I didn't know that it was going to affect me. I didn't know the leopards were going to eat my face. No, wait a minute. You said you were going to only take the bad ones, right? The bad ones. Well, guess what? They say anyone who is not white is a bad one. That's it. That's the reality of this. Okay? And this is why, by the way, these raids have consistently ensnared American citizens from places like Puerto Rico. And even Native Americans have been caught up in this. Okay? It all comes down to racially profiling people. Because, once again, they look at the race of a certain individual and think, well, obviously that's got to be an undocumented immigrant. That must be a bad one. So we're just going to have to arrest him anyway. Despite the fact that a lot of people, they pay taxes. They're pillars of the community. They haven't committed any violent crimes or really any crime whatsoever other than crossing the border. And a lot of them had previously had legal clearance to work and live here. That's what a lot of people don't understand. But again, this shouldn't be a surprise to see any of this happening. It is, after all, what Trump had promised all along. A Trump voter in Texas is having some regrets after the 47th president started to do the thing that he said he was going to do, which is, of course, deport undocumented immigrants to the largest deportation in history. Now, the Texas Tribune spoke to a man named Alan last week who attended a recent protest in El Paso. Okay, Alan, a local police officer, and his wife came and held a Mexican flag. He said he joined the demonstration because he worries about his father, an undocumented immigrant who works at a farm in southern New Mexico. It's probably too much information already. And Alan should probably know that, maybe I'm in danger now. After all, Donald Trump has said and has already begun targeting birthright citizenship. That means Alan would be deported, stripped of citizenship, and deported to a place he's probably never been. Well, if that's the case, then why the hell did he vote for Donald Trump? Well, he said, because he worried about the economy. You know, the price of eggs, which has not gone down. And because he believes that Donald Trump is pro-police and would combat the public's negative perception of law enforcement, which, by the way, is much earned. Okay? I mean, with a lot of the police violence towards black and brown people, a lot of those things, I would say it's pretty well earned as far as that negative perception. Now, he also said that he believed that he believed in Trump's promises to, lower grocery prices, make things more affordable for middle-class families. Well, I mean, let me just start first off with the Donald Trump. He's pro-police. Dude is a literal felon. Okay, yes, he did crime. He got convicted. But he won the White House because of people like you, Alan. and as a result was able to get away with no consequences. That man is pro-police. He's pro-police. Really? Oh, but it gets better. Allen, who declined to give his last name because he fears retaliation against his father, said he now regrets his vote. Well, that's great. I'm glad he regrets it and understands and sees what he has done, the damage that he has wrought. Okay, it's a little late though, but still, let me give his reasoning. Right, he said it was partly because he was angered when Trump gave clemency to people involved in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Okay, yes, very legitimate thing to be angry about if you're in law enforcement, right? But isn't that what he said? That he was going to do? I mean, he kept saying, "I'm going to free the J6ers. I'm going to free him. I'm going to free him." And then when it came down to it, he's like, "F it, free them all." What, even the violent ones? Especially the violent ones. I mean, did you guys not know about that? Did you not believe him when he said these things? He kept saying it at the rallies over and over again. I'm going to free him. I'm going to free him. And then he freed him. He did everything he said he was going to do except for lower grocery prices for families. Because it turns out the president does not actually have the ability to do that. There is no lever there that he can pull that says low prices. All right? That's not what he can do. Okay? Again, the economic argument is ridiculous because, oh, look, Trump's already making things more expensive for everyday Americans. He's starting a trade war with Canada and Mexico, something that the Wall Street Journal had called the, quote, dumbest trade war in history. Yeah. None of his executive orders or actions. Oh, I'm sorry, one, which was very vague, saying, oh, we should do something about prices, right? But none of the other ones had anything to do with lowering grocery prices. In fact, eggs are more expensive now. So if your argument was, oh, I mean, the eggs are too high, man, I can't afford them, I should vote for Trump. Well, now look what happened. Look what happened. Eggs more expensive. And again, it's not like the president actually has a lever that says low eggs. All right. No, it's a combination of different factors. Bird flu, one of them. And of course, you had the greedflation that had happened after COVID. Okay. Now, he's also got the tariffs. Okay. On Monday, he acknowledged that the tariffs may cause some, quote, short-term pain. Not for him, of course, but or his rich friends, but for us, we pay the tariffs. Okay. Whenever we go to the grocery store, that cost gets passed on to us. We pay that. All right. Now, that said, Trump did have a little bit of a victory on one of his tariffs. Well, a little. Get to the details here. Monday morning, Trump paused the tariffs on Mexico for a month, right? After having a call with Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum. Now, she agreed to reinforce the country's northern border with 10,000 National Guard members. So, like, oh, we got to stop the fentanyl. We got to stop the drugs coming in. And she's like, all right, I'll stop the drugs coming in if you stop the guns coming in. So she, again, got a commitment from Trump to try to act to prevent the trafficking of high-powered weapons to Mexico. So it's not like she didn't get any sort of promises in return for this. So she puts, some National Guard on the border. And then the United States stops or is supposed to stop sending guns. Now, here's the thing about that, right? Look, the demand for illegal drugs in the United States is why we have is why the cartels are so powerful right now, okay? And the flow of guns from the United States goes right to the cartels. And so, yes, you got the demand here in the United States for people who wanted fentanyl, okay, the drug dealers, which are not immigrants, okay? Got a lot of white, okay, drug dealers. I know. No, the drug dealers are not all undocumented immigrants, they're not all black people. Okay, which should be obvious, but it's to some people it's not. And so you got these drug dealers that are getting the drugs from the cartels, all right, doing business, and then you got the cartels that come up and they do straw purchases for guns because guess what? The United States has terrible lax gun control in a lot of these states. These borders to Arizona. And so, yeah, the United States is the world's arms dealer, okay? So many of our weapons end up in the hands of criminals as a result of very weak gun laws. I don't think Donald Trump is going to do anything about that. But if he does, well, I mean, that would technically be a real win, a legitimate win. But I doubt that's going to happen because every, Second Amendment person is going to be screaming bloody murder. So he'll never do that. But back to Allen here, right? Who said, quote, I just don't agree with how he's going about the mass deportations. Well, yeah, I agree with you there, but you voted for the Leopards. Are you surprised at all that they have come to eat your face? When they inevitably come to pick up your father and deport him to Mexico. Maybe after that, they're going to come after you. Birthright citizenship and all. Doesn't matter if you're a policeman. In fact, Trump hates law enforcement. Doesn't matter if you pay taxes. He doesn't. Okay, he doesn't. He tries to get out of paying as much taxes as possible. If Donald Trump has his way, people like Allen will no longer be citizens. And I say, when and if that happens, I hope that you remember that elections really do have consequences. And we warned you about those consequences, and you didn't listen. The great trade war between the United States and Canada has begun. And obviously, it's not great. It's really dumb, actually. It's incredibly stupid. Stupid! All right. Now, this in retaliation for Donald Trump's 25% tariff on imported Canadian goods and 10% on energy, our northern neighbor has announced its own retaliatory tariffs. There are 256 items in the first tranche of tariffs that will come into force on Tuesday. The list includes oranges, fruit from Florida, home to Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort, household appliances from South Carolina and Ohio, State Senator Lindsey Graham, Vice President J.D. Vance, motorcycles and coffee from Southern Pennsylvania, which of course help get Trump in the White House. So these are pretty targeted. I feel like they're going after Republicans, right-wingers. But it's not going to be Republicans and right-wingers only that are going to be affected by these retaliatory tariffs, as well as the Trump tariffs themselves. And in fact, look, cosmetics and body care, which is $3.5 billion worth of trade, that's going to be affected. Appliances and other household items, $3.4 billion. Pulp and paper products, $3 billion. Tires, $2 billion. Plastic products, $1.8 billion. Precious gems and metals, $1.7 billion. Furniture, $1.6 billion. Wood products, $875 million. Coffee, $714 million. Grains, that's $600 million. Wine, grapes, spirits, and other products, $589 million. Cocoa products, $569 million. Tools, $560 million. Dairy, $555 million. Sugar and sugar-containing products, $542 million. Sauces and dressing, $517 million. Orange juice and fruits, $512 million. So, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, it's going to have a pretty big impact, these counter tariffs, okay? But that's not all. I mentioned that some of these were pretty targeted, right? Well, one of them comes from Ontario, right? Which is the most populous province in Canada. They tore up a $68 million contract with Elon Musk's Starlink and had banned U.S. companies from bidding on tens of billions of dollars worth of government contracts. So now this is conservative Premier Doug Ford, who ironically posted on X, Ontario won't do business with people hell-bent on destroying our economy. Why are you then posting on X? Okay, what is this? You're still using Elon Musk's platform? Ridiculous. But anyway, he said, every year the Ontario government and its agencies spend $30 billion on procurement alongside with our $200 billion plan to build Ontario. U.S.-based businesses will now lose out on tens of billions of dollars in new revenues. They only have President Trump to blame. And there it is. Here you have conservatives in Canada that are finally getting a taste of what they were trying to bring to their own countries. You can't be out there and say like, no, these conservatives in Canada, they're not at all like Trump. No, they were taking inspiration from Donald Trump and running their own Trump-like campaigns. You know they were. And look, whatever happens in America eventually trickles up to Canada. Okay, and so Canadian conservatives, this is what you're voting for too. You voted for people like Donald Trump to do these things that Trump is doing. So now, Charlie Angus, a member of Canada's federal parliament, had also encouraged Canadians to stop drinking U.S. alcohol together, and said, "Hey, I'm not going to miss American beer because, quote, it's shit anyway." I can't argue with that. It kind of is. And so I'm with you there. But that said, overall, these tariffs, this trade war is going to hurt. I live in Michigan. Canada's basically our hat. Okay. Well, Michigan voted for Donald Trump. And guess what? We're about to find out what happens when you let the leopards run free. Okay. In fact, Rashida Tlaib, a progressive from Detroit, she says working class families are already struggling with the high cost of living and unaffordable groceries. More than half of our fruits and vegetables come from Canada and Mexico. Now, currently, the Trump administration has delayed the trade war with Mexico for a month based on a deal, and there's going to be calls with Trudeau and the Canadian government and all that. But as of right now, trade war. There's retaliatory tariffs from Canada. Now, that's going to have a huge impact on Michigan because of the auto industry. It's going to be an absolute disaster. Motor vehicles and motor vehicle parts accounted for hundreds of billions of dollars worth of traded goods between, obviously, Mexico, Canada, and the United States. So any tariff that's applied, not just to the finished products, but to the different components that go into the final assembly of a car or a truck, is going to be felt big time. So hopefully you all don't need to buy a car or, to have your car fixed, because getting parts for that, it's going to cost you even more. About 165,000 workers in the state of Michigan are employed by motor vehicle manufacturers, parts suppliers. That does not include all the smaller component makers or indirect industries whose success or failure is linked to that of the auto industry. I used to work in that industry. Okay. I used to work at parts suppliers. Okay. I did some welding, via robot. Okay. I used to run one of those. So I know how much this state relies on this industry. Donald Trump is screwing us over. And for what reason? I don't know. Pretty much no reason. He's like, oh, we got to stop the fentanyl from pouring in and the undocumented immigrant from Canada. I'm not saying that no drugs have ever crossed the border from Canada to the United States. Okay. Not saying that. But the seizures of drugs are so minuscule. And again, you wouldn't have that issue if there wasn't demand in this country for those drugs. So, I mean, I'm just saying, no reason to get into a trade war with one of your biggest trading partners. Okay. So I'm sorry, Canada. But hey, I guess now y'all get to finally experience, and I'm saying people in both countries, what Trump rule is going to do. So it's not too late for you, Canada, to not make that mistake and vote for a right-wing MAGA-like person. Okay? I'm hoping that maybe you look at us as sort of like, oh, maybe we shouldn't go in that direction after all, because look at the disaster that awaits us if we do. I'm just hoping that at least America might actually serve as an example to the rest of the world of what not to do. On Friday, unelected bureaucrat and ketamine addict Elon Musk had gained unfettered access to the United States payment system, which contains the personal information of every American who receives tax refunds, Medicare, Social Security, and other payments from the government. According to reports, the newly approved Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was confirmed by a Senate vote of 68 to 29, meaning a lot of Democrats gave him the thumbs up, said, go ahead, Bessent, do what you're going to do. Well, he gave Musk surrogates access to the system late on Friday. I'm going to give you those Democrats, by the way. Blunt Rochester, Cory Booker, Maria Cantwell, Chris Coons, John Fetterman, Ruben Gallego, Kristen Gillibrand, Maggie Hassan, John Hickenlooper, Tim Kaine, Mark Kelly, Angus King, Peters, Shaheen, Slotkin, Warner. I mean, these are Democrats that just voted with the Republicans to, hey, oh, go ahead. Oh, yes, we're going to allow this nominee to run the Treasury Department. And now that same nominee, is allowing Elon Musk's cronies to root around and collect our personal information from the government's payment system. Bessent's decision came the same day as news that David Lebrick, a career Treasury official who was acting secretary before Bessent's confirmation, would step down after arguing with Doge members. Doge, not an actual government agency, by the way. This is an outsider group, over access to the system run by the Bureau of Fiscal Service that pays out over $6 trillion a year. Doge gained access to the Treasury payment system the same day that an official at the Office of Personnel Management said that Musk allies had locked career civil servants out of a computer system containing the personal information of federal employees. So outsiders are coming in and locking out literal government employees out of their own system. This is a coup. Make no mistake. You got these unelected Doge dickheads playing with the finances of the entire country. Should that not set alarm bells off? It does with me. These people are Musk employees, among the government outsiders granted entry to the OPM databases is University of California, Berkeley student Akash Boba, a software engineer who graduated high school less than 3 years ago. So basically a child, He previously interned at Meta and Palantir, a tech firm chaired by Musk ally and fellow billionaire Peter Thiel. Edward Korestein, another 2022 high school graduate, former software engineering intern at Musk's Neuralink, has also been given access to the databases. Others at OPM include the agency's new chief of staff, Amanda Scales, who until January was a human resources staffer at XAI, that's Musk's artificial intelligence firm, and Brian Bajeld, who has spent the last 21 years at Musk's SpaceX, including the last 10, leading the human resources department. They are joined by Gavin Klieger, a former Twitter software engineer, serving as a special advisor to the director of OPM, and Riccardo Biasini, a former software engineer at Musk's tunneling venture, The Boring Company. According to Wired magazine, the Doge team is being led by a group of 6 young and inexperienced engineers aged 19 to 24, one of whom, as I mentioned before, was still in college. Great. Not only is this disastrous already, but remember, these people are directly answerable to Elon Musk. What could go wrong? with having the finances of the entire country, the payment system at their disposal. Now, people familiar with the situation told the New York Times that so far, no payments had yet been blocked, yet being the operative word here, and that the stated mission of the Doge team was just to review the payments, not to stop them. But why do you need to review the payments? These are private. Okay, this is a lot of personal identifying information in them that should not be, the subject of these people, these unelected people coming in and looking at them. What gives them the right? What gives them the right to access this information? Where is the oversight? Well, there is none. And by the way, they said, well, we're not there to block payments, guys. We're just there to look at them, right? Well, what's to stop them from blocking payments to certain programs in order to work around the courts, block on the administration's spending freeze? What's to stop them from accessing the blacklisted federal contractors in order to boost himself or his friends' companies or to harm his competitors? You don't think he would? I'm sure he would. And what's to stop him from deciding one day, Social Security, Medicare, it's too expensive. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to stop that to save $2 trillion. And because if we stop that, then we can, save money and then direct all that money in tax cuts for the rich. Now, I know his defenders, he wouldn't do that. He's already super rich. He doesn't need the money. That's what makes him uniquely qualified to be able to do this, because he wouldn't be tempted by greed. Do you hear yourselves? Really? You think that that's the case? Stupid. I tell you what, that's never stopped a sociopath before. Okay? And besides, the fact that he even has access to the system while not being a government employee, nor had he been elected to any of these positions, should disturb everyone. This is a person who doesn't know or care how government works. Okay, he is not a super genius. All right, he's not an intelligent person at all when it comes to this. All right, the only thing that he was able to do was act like he knows everything because he had the money to come in and buy up these companies. That's it. Buying up somebody's work and then rebranding it for himself. That's what he's done. And obviously, days after he got access, is already showing that he has no understanding of what he's doing. In fact, on Sunday, he claimed that U.S. aid is breaking the law. What's his evidence there? Trust me, bro. I know what I'm doing. He said on Sunday, career Treasury officials are breaking the law every hour of every day by approving payments that are fraudulent or do not match funding laws passed by Congress. This needs to stop now. But wait, you're breaking the law by accessing unauthorized systems. You are not authorized to see these things. Doesn't matter. Scott Bessent said it was okay. Fuck Scott Bessent. All right? No. He does not belong in the system. Get him out. Get him out. But he's going to continue to say false things to back him up. Musk shared a summation of a relevant statute compiled by Grok, the artificial intelligence service run by his own social media app, X. Oh yeah, whoa, that's a great, a great trustworthy source there. It's gonna give it to you straight. Really? And by the way, speaking of AI, right? These are the same chatbots. These are glorified chatbots. Okay, that was telling people just months ago that hey, eating rocks is actually definitely healthy, and you should do it. What? Wait, what? But here's what he posted, by the way, against USAID. He said, do you know that USAID is taking your tax dollars and funding bioweapons research, including COVID-19, that killed millions of people? Wait. I thought you said that. I thought you believed that the vaccine was killing people. Okay? Get your right-wing conspiracies right. Okay? Oh, no, it's COVID. No, it's the vaccine. No, it's something else. What? Again, you can't get your conspiracies right. All right. But no, that didn't actually happen. It's not a bioweapon funded by the government and released by the Chinese. What? But again, none of this matters, though, simply because he has full control now. He's getting rid of U.S. aid. All right. After security officials on Sunday tried to prevent Doge personnel from viewing personnel files and security systems, as well as classified information that requires a security clearance to access, he decided to tell Trump, you know what we should do? We should kill the agency. And you know what? Trump agreed. Here's what he posted on Sunday. USAID is a criminal organization. Time for it to die. And now Trump's going to kill it. He's going to try, at least. That said, Trump can't shut it down without Congress. But I have a feeling that Congress has pretty much abdicated any of its responsibilities. Okay? And so maybe they'll just let it happen. They'll sit by and watch it and be like, well, there's nothing we could do. What do you mean? Power's yours. I'm not saying he couldn't hobble it with executive orders. He could. But that is a congressionally created agency. He cannot just unilaterally get rid of it. If he tries, it's going to go to the courts, right? Now, of course, the judiciary, this is why it's such a disaster that you had so much of a takeover of the judiciary by the right wing over the last 8 years. And Democrats helped with that, by the way, by confirming a lot of these judges, confirming a lot of these nominees. Now, of course, if this ends up going to the courts, okay, assuming the Democrats put up some sort of a fight, which is not guaranteed at this point, that will lead to the 10,000 employees at USAID to either be put on paid leave or they get fired. They just lose their job, lose their income, which I'm sure is one of the reasons that Musk wanted to take over the payment system in the first place, so that now he's gotten rid of a government agency, he's just going to withhold the funding. It's not like he doesn't have the power to do it now, which I'm sure is going to be great for the unemployment rate. But they don't care about that either. This is a completely messed up situation. Shouldn't be happening, but it is. And I want to thank those special thanks to those Democrats, right, that I had mentioned for capitulating to Donald Trump, okay, and approving basically any of the Trump nominees. I mean, so many of them have already been approved, passing their confirmations, when really, if you were actually interested in resistance, you would block every Trump nominee from now on. You would. But now, you didn't. You didn't. So now whatever damage that these people end up doing to the government, to the everyday person, well, that's partly on you now. Partly on you. They have put up absolutely no resistance to this radical takeover by an unelected non-government employee and his incel groiper goons. And they should absolutely never be allowed to forget about it. The Trump administration is continuing its war on woke. Woke. By ordering employees at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to censor any articles under consideration for publication in medical or scientific journals to make sure that they do not contain such forbidden terms like gender. Now, the order was sent out in an email to the CDC division heads on Friday by the agency's chief science officer. Federal official told Reuters on Sunday. Inside Medicine broke the news on Saturday and provided a screenshot, full list of terms that needed to be censored, scrubbed, which you can see right there. Gender, transgender, pregnant person, pregnant people, LGBT, transsexual, non-binary is on there twice. I don't know why. Assigned male at birth, assigned female at birth, biologically male, biologically female. All of those are now censored. They are banned terms. It's censorship. 100%. Please, Republicans, show us on the doll where the word gender hurt you, okay? And why are you doing this? Why are you subverting free speech? This is insanity. Now, the order is an attempt to ensure that the CDC is in compliance with President Trump's executive order mandating that the U.S. government only recognize two sexes, male and female. Papers will now be withdrawn so that a Trump appointee can review them. The order covers both papers under consideration and those accepted but not published yet. According to Reuters, if a CDC employee worked on a paper with non-governmental scientists but did not initiate, they have been asked to remove their names. Because, God forbid, anyone from the Trump administration be linked to actual science. That just shows you how anti-science they are. And anti-free speech. Look, they are now required by law to put out things that are politically correct. They have become the actual PC police. Trump says it's no longer politically correct to say transgender or non-binary. So you are the PC police if you support this. Because that's what's happening. This is anti-free speech. It's pro-censorship. Okay? According to Common Dreams, the new order is separate from a demand 2 days into the administration that government health agencies, including the CDC, freeze all communications with the public. It follows reports on Friday that CDC web pages and datasets involving HIV, the LGBTQ community, youth health, and other topics were no longer accessible as the agency attempts to comply with the Trump executive order on transgender identity and another on banning government diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Now, of course, all of this is creating confusion within the government. What's affected? We don't know. Could be many things. Most manuscripts include simple demographic information about the populations or patients studied, which typically includes gender. So that's already banned. And just about any major study could now fall under this new policy, including studies on COVID-19, cancer, heart disease, or anything else. At this point, though, anything the administration considers to be woke ideology will be censored 100%. It's censorship. I thought the right wing, you're supposed to hate censorship, right? No, they love it. They can't wait to silence people they don't like. Can't wait to silence ideas and thoughts. Ooh, we're looking forward to that the whole time. The whole time when they were telling you, it's the left, censorship, they're always trying to censor us, trying to cancel us. Cancel culture. It's just projection the whole time. Hearing about the actual existence of transgender people is apparently so triggering to them that they can't even allow the word to be spoken or written down. They're afraid of everything. Afraid of everything. Now, that said, their actions are causing fear and chaos, which I believe is the point, and is leading a lot of government workers to doing what the Germans called preemptive obedience. Yeah, preemptive obedience indeed. And that's what we're seeing all over the government. Now, again, that was the point. Dr. Alfredo Morieba, editor-in-chief of the American Journal of Public Health, told Reuters that how can the government decide what words of a journal can use to describe a scientific reality? That reality needs to be named. Well, to be fair, they don't believe in reality either. He also says, it sounds incredible that this is compatible with the First Amendment. A constitutional right has been canceled. That's another thing the right wing claimed to despise. Cancel culture. Oh my God, the cancel culture. Now they're canceling everyone but straight white people. That's it. In fact, Stephen Wolf, director emeritus and senior advisor at Virginia Commonwealth University Center on Society and Health, called it Orwellian. Censoring data on ideological grounds is wrong. It is unscientific. And it is designed to eliminate opposition and erase dissidents, said virologist Angela Rasmussen, who was involved with data preservation efforts that are currently going on. They're trying to save as much of this data that they can from Trump's PC police coming in and erasing it. Carl Schmid, executive director of the HIV plus Hepatitis Policy Institute, also told Reuters, quote, "We can't just erase or ignore certain populations when it comes to preventing, treating, or researching infectious diseases such as HIV. I certainly hope this is not the intent of these orders." I got bad news for you, dude. This is exactly the intent. Okay? They don't care about vulnerable populations. They don't want to prevent, treat, or research stuff, even like HIV. And this goes all the way back to the Reagan administration. Remember, they ignored it for years because of what Reagan's conservative advisors and aides told them to do. They wanted AIDS education and messaging to, quote, fit the model of social and religious conservatism that posited gay men as sick and dangerous. Gee, what happened to LG, B without the T? Bet y'all are feeling real stupid right now, aren't you? Because that's what they're doing to trans people right now. Okay? They're doing it to trans people, not transgender children, doing it to adults. They're going to limit things like gender affirming care for adults. This is part of that effort to first erase them in government literature and then to come after the treatments they use to be themselves. This is conservative political correctness, cancel culture, but most importantly, a way to erase these vulnerable populations so that they can go and then destroy them. This has been the conservative right-wing plan the whole time, and now we're seeing the first phases of it right in front of our faces. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you become a member on our YouTube page, you become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.